Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, jumuiya yetu. We shall remain standing for prayer. Dear God, in the very beginning, after you separated the water, made the animals and plants, you created man. And you gave him a very specific instruction that his and his missus was to have dominion over everything else you created. As CEOs, we gather here to rehearse, strategize, and dialogue how to have dominion, not only over the potential of this nation, but we are non-apologetic about our wish to have dominion over East Africa, Africa, and the entire world. And in your word, you were very clear that as Ugandans, you want us to be heads and not tails of anybody. We thank you for the life of our chief convener, His Excellency, and we thank you that you are opening our minds to ideas new. In your name we pray, and they said, Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, seat in the order of your ages. Your Excellency, it's good to see you, and it's a pleasure to have you around. Generally speaking, God has ordained that bold-headed men with hearts will have dominion over their territories. So, sebo woto badde nze nga alina ekiwalaata n'enkofiira bano mbeefunidde. Naye kati nga bw'ozze gwatusingako n'ekiwalaata ekitereevu n'enkofiira enneneko kanzijeko eyange ffenna otwefunire. Your Excellency, my name is Samson Kasumba, and I work with NBS Television. And I'm a big fan and student of yours. I have been chosen to be the master of ceremony for now, and I take that as a privilege, and I thank God for it. We agreed that at that point there will be a hand clap. My job for now is to call the coordinator of the Presidential CEO Forum, Baroness Irene M. Birungi, to come and pick it up from here. But I would also like to mention, and I would like to request Your Excellency that you take note of who speaks very long and delays you here. And you can use those names as you may wish.
Your Excellency, sir, you're most welcome. Distinguished captain of the industry, the board chair of the Presidential CEO Forum, the Honorable Minister of Trade, the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, and the State Minister of Trade, the Board of Directors of Presidential CEO Forum, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, today is a special day as we have to host you in the capacity as the CEOs of the different fields. This CEO retreat started yesterday, and a number of issues were raised, and your head of departments, the PSST, the Executive Director of National Planning Authority were ably in position to tackle some of the issues. And also Uganda Revenue Authority, who joined this morning, and I was able to respond to some of the issues. First of all, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the opportunity that was given for you to allow me to coordinate this platform. The third presidential CEO biannual retreat comes at a time after we've just launched the national strategy of private sector. And indeed, it's time that we align all the strategic issues with the national strategy. The PCF Forum was established, Your Excellency, so that it can accelerate economic transformation with the private sector being the engine growth. And the key focus areas, as you ably all the time speak to, are local content, industrialization, leadership development, policy formulation, so as to enhance economic transformation, as well as the Presidential CEO Forum takes champion in mobilizing these CEOs. They are CEOs who have strategic interventions in different fields, and by doing so, they play a key role in enhancing the country's economy. Your Excellency, one of the major objectives is to really ensure the service delivery, policy making, and also support competitive business environment. And this goes without a question. It's possible because of the peace that you have availed to the private sector. The other objective, Your Excellency, is to foster evidence-based dialogue and decision-making that do bring development in terms of policy formulation. And by so doing, the Presidential CEO Forum has been in position to even establish a few of the technical working group. And this, of course, more information will be brought to your attention through the chair of the PCF board. I would want to once again thank you, each and every one of you who made time to come and be part of this retreat. Sir, there are a number of strategic interventions that will be relayed to you, but more so, thank you so much for putting time aside and come and being with us today, because I know you're going to speak to us and give us words of wisdom. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the hours.
Ladies and gentlemen, by that speech, both the lower and upper limits for today have been set. Your Excellency, the theme of the retreat is unlocking private sector investment through strategic interventions for socio-economic transformation. And our next speaker, very briefly, will be Mr. Paul Musasi, the CEO of the Chira Motor Corporation.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the honorable ministers present, leaders of government parastatals and agencies, and the industry captains, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, I wish to start by thanking you for the guidance and the leadership that you've provided to the wider mobility industry that has now formed a nucleus, having actors within the state enterprises as well as the private sector. Your Excellency, you ably guided on a number of things. One, you told us that Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero should organize us very well. And secondly, you guided on strategy, where we should play in the short to medium term to win on this very important area, especially of e-mobility, which not only addresses issues, development issues around energy efficiency by reducing the dependence on imported fossil fuels, but also addresses issues around noise and air pollution, as well as creating green and sustainable jobs, which we really need. Your Excellency, you ably articulated 6 areas which we should think about and come back to you and tell you how we hope we can move together to catalyze the transition of Uganda to e-mobility. Your Excellency, I will go straight to highlighting one, that we have been having a number of conversations across the ecosystem, including those ones in research and development, engineering design, manufacturing, those people who are actors in the energy sector, which is critical to the success of the transition, actors who are involved in transport operations, actors involved in value chain financing for the ecosystem, actors involved in regulation, including, among others, the ministries, the departments, and other policy organs of government, as well as actors who are critical in putting in place the necessary digital platforms and solutions that enable the industry to scale. The conversations that are ongoing, Your Excellency, have identified 7 critical areas which we do believe, with your further guidance, would be critical to catalyzing the transition to e-mobility. I will go through them one by one, Your Excellency. The first area, Your Excellency, we believe is very important. Given the nucleus that has been formulated, there is need for us to explore offtake agreements that will enable us to guarantee the initial market for the electric vehicles that are made in Uganda, including buses, motorcycles, and other segments that are yet to take off. Your Excellency, it is also critical, given our conversations we've had, especially with the operators today, operators like the Uganda Taxi Operators Federation, bus operators like Wakule Nume and others, that UDB helps us to put in place affordable financing instruments to enable these operators to acquire the vehicles. And Your Excellency, allow me to highlight that with the studies we have done, in the Greater Kampala metropolitan area alone, about 2.5 million people move each and every day in and out of the city. In a scenario that has been studied further by the National Planning Authority, we need 3,000 to 9,000 buses to support a comprehensive public transit system in the Greater Kampala metropolitan area in the short to medium term. Your Excellency, we went further and did a simulation and established that if we deployed 2,000 buses in the Greater Kampala metropolitan area, we will be turning in revenues to the investors in that business in excess of 2 trillion Uganda shillings. And of course, URA will be smiling away with over 300 billion Uganda shillings annually. On top of increasing the productivity of your people who move each and every day under difficult circumstances today in the city, while putting more money in the people, the 82% Ugandans who move using public transport today in and out of the city to do business. It is against this background, Your Excellency, that we seek your further guidance on that matter. Your Excellency, for e-mobility to take scale and take off, we also request your guidance so that the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development puts in place a preferential e-mobility energy tariff for public and commercial charging points. This, Your Excellency, would be perhaps similar to the preferential energy tariff which is today used for city street lighting. And we do believe this is something you can guide us further to achieve. Your Excellency, there is a need for us to streamline e-mobility, human capital, and institutional capacity development. You may be aware, Your Excellency, today that we do not have any formal program at any tertiary institution in Uganda today focusing on developing the human capital critical for facilitating. Now, we are only going to get things done if we know how to do them. We request your further guidance, Your Excellency, to the Ministry of Education and Sports to ensure that a holistic approach is taken to put in place the right curricular interventions so that we have the right mix of professionals for both white and blue-collar application domains within the relevant institutions, that is the tertiary institutions, including vocational as well as universities. Your Excellency, we also have challenges in terms of drivers. Drivers of electric vehicles, especially the heavy-duty ones, the buses and trucks, require a certain special way of skilling in order for them to do what they're expected to do. Because when you sit in vehicles like this, they have dashboards which keep on communicating so many things, and it is not the ordinary way of doing things. We request your further guidance for the Ministry of Works and Transport to put in place a skilling and certification program for electric vehicle drivers. Your Excellency, you guided on localization of the manufacturing of electric vehicle batteries and energy storage systems, which are instrumental because in e-mobility, typically 60% of an electric vehicle by value is the battery bank. Your Excellency, in order for us to benefit greatly from this value chain, which we should localize in the medium to long term, we need the National Planning Authority to carry out a comprehensive feasibility study, which will guide government and private sector investment interventions thereof. Your Excellency, it is critical that the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development puts in place a comprehensive facilitative physical package to promote value addition in the mobility industry for import substitution, supply chain localization, and export promotion. And Your Excellency, we have a few ideas which could be studied further. We believe that we could look into, perhaps for review after 10 years, zero duty, import duty, for key components that are used for making electric vehicle, zero withholding tax, zero rate infrastructure levy, and zero rate VAT to help us strengthen this particular value chain, and we review after 10 years to see how that is performing. In any case, it will improve on our balance of trade, because right now, Your Excellency, we import the vehicle and we import the energy. Electricity is generated here, so we'll be consuming more of that, and then we catalyze the manufacturing to create more opportunities. Your Excellency, the other very important segment is the electric motorcycle segment. And where we are standing today, the actors, Your Excellency, are saying that there is need for a clear roadmap to transitioning all new registrations of motorcycles to be electric, especially within the city center. Your Excellency, we believe that with the right interventions, we could have over 500,000 electric motorcycles in Uganda. That will mean that the riders will be earning 50% more by saving on maintenance and energy costs, as we also benefit from the other aspects on the climate business case, which is very clear. Lastly, but not least, Your Excellency, one of the ways we can fast track especially aspects of the transition is by requiring all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to integrate e-mobility in their annual work plans and budgets. This will enable us to see more electric vehicles on the road and also charging infrastructure. Your Excellency, before I say thank you, Allow me to bring you greetings from my son. He always asks me where I go very early sometimes and come back late, and I tell him I will have a meeting which has been convened by Your Excellency. And today specifically, he sent me to say hello. I thank you very much. But before I leave this microphone, I know Mr. Kasumba is struggling for time. Allow me to just request, without introducing yourself, the value chain actors of e-mobility here to just stand up and wave to His Excellency. All of us, Zembo, Safe Border, Kira, NFT Mobility, wherever you are. These are your people, and there are more others, and we look forward to your guidance as we get this done, because we will do it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Kwetega Uganda Limited. Your Excellency, there is a powerful team of women manufacturers here, and that team is 10 strong. And I'd like them to stand up so that they can be recognized. The team of women manufacturers, 10 of them, they're also here. Your Excellency, for the next 4.5 minutes, the next speaker is Mr. Douglas Opio, and he's going to speak to the parish development model.
Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers present, heads of MDS, my own board chair, Mr. Emmanuel Katongole, the CEOs present, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, just to give a bit of context, first I want to extend my utmost appreciation to the PSST and the Executive Director NPA. I also want to thank the aid of PDM for working very closely with the private sector. Secondly, we appreciate your guidance, for instance, in terms of the real economy and the vulnerable economy. We appreciate the context within which the PDM is anchored. Where we're speaking right now is a place that a few years back was full of insecurity. We couldn't even hold a meeting like this. Secondly, we also know that in the past, just in the 90s, we are talking about a population that was 96% below the poverty level. But the situation is quite different now. So within that context, the parish development model has now been set to move our development to the last mile, to the very last person in the parish. So that's a bit of the context. It's anchored on 7 pillars, but also 7 commodities. And I will quickly highlight them. Coffee. Coffee is the first and perhaps the only well-established. The other 7 value chains are completely challenged at the moment, and we need your interventions on those. Those include the fruits. We had a presentation from Delight earlier on, and they spoke about the challenges they're experiencing, so I'll not speak about that. We also have the other value chain, chicken for eggs, fish, piggery, dairy, and food crops. These are the areas that have been set in the parish development model. Now, the value chain is actually quite a long chain, and the private sector has a role to play along each aspect of this value chain. And the value chain starts with the inputs, the seeds, the fertilizers, and stuff like that. The private sector can contribute to that. Secondly, the actual production, certified seeds, certified fertilizers, and all these. Thank you. I need to get closer to the mic. So the second aspect is certification, production, using certified inputs as well. Thirdly, the issue of productivity. Increasing, you have always spoken about the 1 acre model. Increasing the level of productivity, machinery, financing, and all this stuff. on-farm processing, so that we can address the issue, for instance, of post-harvest losses that we experience, the issue of storage, the silos that we require, the issue of secondary production, so that we are not only taking things in the market which are raw, but we are actually processing them, the issue of transporting food from one region of the country to another. We are a country where people shouldn't complain of hunger because we throw away food. We are throwing away food in some regions while some regions are challenged. The last aspect of this value chain is the market. Now, Your Excellency, I want to present to you two key risk areas that we have looked at. The first one is the production risk. The second is the market risk. On the production risk, we have challenges linked to fake and substandard agricultural produce. We also have challenges linked to poor varieties and breeds. We also have climatic challenges, but also the high levels of subsistence, the 39% who are basically still in the peasant economy. What are we proposing? The first, we prioritize restructuring of the input certification process by the ministry responsible for agriculture and UNBS. Secondly, increasing agricultural insurance so that we can have more private sector players in the space. The second area, market risk, Your Excellency. In the area of market risk, we have challenges linked to inaccessibility of production nodes. And with the Delight example, they explain clearly how when it rains, they can't access their farms. So a clear challenge with that. The challenge of non-aggregation and, of course, post-harvest handling infrastructure. Trading is also unregulated in a number of cases. We have very limited market information. Now, what are we proposing, Your Excellency? The first one is that the government should create a proper market information system so that we can understand and act from a point of information. Secondly, we are also looking at the underutilization that we experience because of limited financing. We want UDB to be recapitalized, but we also want the same to be done with the Uganda Development Corporation. Now, as I conclude, Your Excellency, we also need at a higher level, possibly by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, a clear market strategy, because production is one thing and getting them to the market is the other. Otherwise, Your Excellency, we are extremely grateful as the private sector for your leadership and the support that you continue to give. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, the next season is for testimonials, those who've been through the process. And we do have a no-nonsense approach to this. And Lady Ruth Beans Kamsoke will be in charge. It is women, at least from my experience, who manage men well.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the board of the Presidential CEO Forum, would like to once again welcome you. I don't have to introduce myself because you already gave me a name as Omukunja, and I agree to take it because I come from that area with my other colleagues. Though we no longer eat people, we enjoy the meat though. So, Your Excellency, we agreed as the board that we need to give a chance to at least part of a few players from the private sector that have been able to listen to your message and gone ahead and transformed lives. So because of time, I'll give those that I will invite just 1 minute. I'll say briefly as you're coming, and then when you come in, you state what you want to ask Your Excellency or comment about. And I'll start with Ian Clark. Your Excellency Ian Clark, and please come. Why we invited him is that forget about him being a medical doctor. He's now into coffee, and he has 1,500 acres of land. and 750 is on coffee, Robusta coffee. He's already into wheat processing, and he has started actually export directly to Europe, and is planning to set up a roasting plant in the near future. He has his farm in Chenjojo, and I want to give him the minute.
Your Excellency, I don't need to say much because Ruth has said it all for me already. However, I was surprised actually when Engineer Chibuka gave us the history of Uganda from 1900 on. He talked about Church Mission Society having come and set up the Uganda Company, and they went from missions to coffee. And I have to say that I came 30 years ago with Church Mission Society, although I have to say that I am an Irishman. Okay. I'm not an Englishman, and nothing wrong with the English, sorry, but I'm an Irishman, and I came here, but then switched to the private sector, and as you know, I've been in healthcare for a long time. So why did I, in the last 7 years ago, go into coffee? Because I believe that if you take something like healthcare, it's very affected by household incomes. And the agricultural sector, and coffee in particular, is such a vital sector in Uganda, and yet often people are getting very poor incomes from coffee because of poor agronomic practices, poor markets, and so on. So in Chenjojo, I've set up a 1,500-acre farm, half of which is in coffee. We have wet processing there, enough to do 6.5 tons an hour. Dry processing to do hulling and preparation for green bean for export. And my next step will be also to do roasting. Because I can provide offtake, we have 1,500 farmers registered as who I buy coffee from, both in the Runsbury Highlands and around my farm. So I believe that hub farms that demonstrate and can provide a market and provide processing and value addition are a way we can go, and I'm just one farmer in one district, but I think this can be replicated throughout Uganda. And also I would say there are many people in Uganda with land, but they're not doing much with it, so I would encourage those who have the means to please follow my example. And finally, I would say, please, I would like you to come and visit my farm sometime, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Good. The next one, please, in 1 minute. Mr. Kayemba, the chairman of Uganda Manufacturers Association, and is the proprietor of East African Roofing Systems. He has already 365 workers, and his products already exported across East Africa and Africa. His interest is in an or please raise your issue in 1 minute.
Your Excellency, as already introduced, let me get down to business. I stand here as the chairman of Uganda Manufacturers Association, and I want to give you a progress report on the assignment you gave us on 23rd September this year of local manufacturers utilizing our iron ore instead of exporting it raw. Your Excellency, we have made a lot of progress. We have held several meetings with the Minister of Finance, coordinating interministerial representation. We have held meetings with the Minister of Trade and contributed to the cabinet paper which came to you. Amongst ourselves, we have sat and agreed to categorize ourselves in 3 sectors. First sector is Abatembus, the pioneers, the ones you call Abatembus, the pioneers who started anyhow, anywhere. These include companies like Tembo, Mayuge Steel, Modern Steel. They are working and they are utilizing the iron ore. For example, Tembo Steel is already doing 100,000 metric tons per annum. Is having capacity of 245 metric tons this year. The others are also doing some sizable capacity. We have agreed as consumers of the sponge iron and the steel products to support them, and we have already started buying from them, diverting away from imports. At this point, we have asked Minister of Finance to put some duty, and through URA we are using a tool called duty remission. For the items that we cannot get locally, we go to URA and ask for a duty remission. But for those that we can get here, we are going to use our own. Number two, this Ruth is asking, standing very near me. Number two is your own people. The gentlemen you know about and Bizigo, they have demonstrated capacity to start DLI, fully integrated DLI mills. And we request you to support them. They have asked for some facilitation from government in terms of land and others. Support them. The third category is those that feel that they have to go with the government. This group, and there are quite many, they are proposing that we have a special purpose vehicle in UDC, which we can participate in with government, and through that special purpose vehicle, we can invite foreign investors. So, Your Excellency, these are the three ways. The comprehensive report is coming to you after putting figures, and we request you to support us. Ruth is just 1 minute. This is another important one. Your Excellency, our second issue is our much cherished import substitution program that is going to see us becoming resilient as an economy and self-sustainable. This is working very well to enable our local manufacturers, but the implementation is not working as expected. Our friends, the policymakers, are using a tool called the import duty. And whenever somebody says, I'm producing that, they say, put import duty. So we are asking that the tax policy people develop capacity to evaluate the capacity of the producers, that we have other tools other than import duty that we can use in an interchangeable manner to support them, because what is happening that whenever we put duty on products, the beneficiaries of this duty take it as a chance to make money, and they use it to squeeze the SMEs that are operating in the same space out of business. And the end result is that we have a negative effect on job creation, on the social impact, and sometimes we have fatalities in business. So, Your Excellency, these are my 2 points. This Mukunja is chasing me away. I'll put it in a writing to you, sir.
Chris Kaijuka, please come from the Grain Council. He's dealing already. He's mobilized over 2 million farmers in grain, and he's been behind seeing that we can be able to increase, add value, and promote exports in the grain sector. Please, let's use 1 minute. I believe it's important for His Excellency to hear us from as many people as possible.
Your Excellency, the Mukunja has already taken my 1 minute. Honorable Ministers, protocol observed. Your Excellency, me, I'm here first of all to thank you for creating the enabling environment where we have been able to achieve the following. As the Grain Council, we have a membership of 185 entities. Our memberships are companies, farmers' organizations, and the rest. We have to date, Your Excellency, we participate in the entire value chain of the grain. From the input side, Your Excellency, the way we have seed, fertilizers, and agro input chemicals. We have farmers.
What's your issue? Just tell me.
Yes, thank you very much, Ruth. His Excellency wants to hear this. To date, Your Excellency, We have invested over 200 million US dollars in silos, grain processing, and storage as warehouses. This is, Your Excellency, private equity investment. We have over 1 million tons capacity to date, as compared to Produce Marketing Board. This is in our 10 years existence, Produce Marketing Board had 62,000 tons only. We are employing 12,500 people directly and indirectly over 50,000. This is for you to hear, Your President, Your Excellency. We have processing capacity. When we talk of processing, that is grading, drying, and value addition of 9,000 tons per day, which translates about 2 million tons, 2.7 million tons per annum. Your Excellency, we are more privileged for once that you directed government that supports the commercial farmers, who are our major producers. And at this juncture, I would like them to stand, even the members of Grain Council, wherever you are, please, so that you are recognized. Even we've gone ahead to recruit some of your generals. Is General Tema here? Why didn't you stand? So, Your Excellency, we would like expedition of the release of funds for the commercial farmers, and also UDC, acceleration, the equity involvement in value addition with the Grain Council. Your Excellency, you have commissioned the Parish development model. They are all looking who is going to be the off-taker. Your Excellency, we are the off-taker. We need really clear coordination, otherwise you are going to have a problem. Who is going to buy, where they are going to deliver? We are ready, Your Excellency, if we can also access some funding. Well, we are taught to respect the ladies, Your Excellency. Allow me, and I seek to meet you at your appropriate time, Your Excellency. Asante sana.
I have 2 more remaining, and it will be very unfair, Your Excellency. We are in Noya, and I thought some people from Noya would also speak to you, and 2 of them, I'll invite Lieutenant General Otema, please come, the host, and Adeli, please come. It's been a request from members. Your Excellency, I am aware, please come, the 2, please come. I'm aware that you know already General Otema, but for your information, you know that he's on 5 square miles, and he has already 2,000 acres of soybeans, 1,000 acres of sunflower, and 2,000 acres of maize, and 1,000 cows for beef. So you are the host. You have half a minute. Adeli, please, you're sharing it together because we don't have time. Adeli, please come together. From 1 minute.
Thank you, Your Excellency. You are most welcome in your home in Noya. For those who don't know Noya, you're in Noya. And I want to thank Your Excellency from the time when you pacified the North. You opened the door for the investor. One of them is Madevani, where we're in. I recalled the pressure you gave us to make sure that we flush corn from this place so that just a beautiful place can be built in Noya. We didn't know as commanders, we didn't know as soldiers that you were looking ahead, but you were giving us a sleepless night to make sure corn is flushed out. And I didn't know that I was going to be the beneficiary, because after that, I've engaged in farming. You remember you have visited one of my farms, but I'm also in production. I want to thank other investors. The like of Ben Kavuya, he stand up. Some of these other, those who are in Noya here, whom have interested them to come and do serious farming. Stand up, please. Sir, Noya, welcome investor. More so, my sister here. She has done a great work. She employs various farmers, 18,000 women and youth, over 1,500 acres of mango. Unfortunately, they would have had more if she could be given opportunity to process our mangoes. But up to now, the mangoes goes to rot, which is very unfortunate. Even myself, you know very well that I produce a lot of cassava. It went to waste. My brother, Dr. Gobi, when he was in well creation, he witnessed it. I failed to get the machine or a factory process, and I've given up on cassava. But if I have that opportunity, I'll be able to go back and produce cassava. I once again want to thank you very much to giving us the vision out of your guidance that we, your generals, after war, after the silence of the gun, we should engage in production. And we are doing that, sir. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, allow me to say thank you to you for being a visionary leader. You remember 11 years ago when I was a member of Presidential Investor Roundtable as an advisor on agriculture, we were at State House when you guided us to stop importing concentrates and food colors, go back and produce fruits. Because of your guidance, Your Excellency, we have managed to produce the mangoes. We have turned the story around. Mangoes used to come from Kenya. Now it comes from Noya district. Our pickup, they are full of mangoes. They are not allowed to bring it here. We have managed to build the right farm institute to transform the informal sector. Your Excellency, I have two things to request. One, to have a budget for community mobilization and transformation. That's why we built the Delight Farm Institute for hands-on skilling. Our commissioner here needs to widen the tax base. We have the capacity as private sector to make the informal sector, those who survive on a whole, to make them bankable and taxable. We need a grant for that. And we request for a loan or a government guarantee. We get money to build a factory in Noya. We have already donated the Farm Institute, the Common User Facility, and we are training the women and the youth. We have the capacity to transform ourselves, to stop waiting. I say thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you for all our partners and those who believed in our ideas in transforming the women and the youth. Thank you. Dr. Julia Nadiero Mala, a doctor in agriculture and road transformation, a chairperson of Noya Fruit Growers Corporate Society, known as Mama Cheers. Thank you.
The last one, Ernest Lumondo, he has a minute to share some of the opportunities in the oil and gas sector. And please, it's 1 minute.
Your Excellency, honorable ministers, captains of industry, my colleagues in the public sector, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the Presidential CEO Forum for giving the Petroleum Authority of Uganda the opportunity to say a few words here. It's extremely very little time, so I don't know how I can use it. However, we have agreed with the organizers that I say something about where the oil and gas industry is and what it can contribute to the parish development model. So very quickly, just to remind everybody that the 4 flagship projects in the oil and gas sector include 2 production projects of Tilenga in Nwoya and Bulisa and Kingfisher project in Chikube district. These are production projects. We then have the East African crude oil pipeline project, which is to export crude oil from Hoima to Tanga. And the 4th one is the refinery. All these projects put together are in the range of $15 to $20 billion, which is expected to be invested in the country in the next 5 years up to 2026. Following the final investment decision that was announced in February this year, activity on the ground has increased intensely. The drilling rigs that are expected to drill production wells have started arriving in the country, and production drilling at the Kingfisher field in Buhuka is expected to start later this month. The drilling in Tilenga is expected to start in March. The contracting, the Petroleum Authority of Uganda has approved contracts worth $6.8 billion since the final investment decision was announced. I'm glad to say that out of these $6.8 billion, $1.7 billion has been granted to contracts awarded to Ugandan companies. It's a total of 200 Ugandan companies, and these companies have contracts in industrial goods like steel and cement. They have engineering services. They have hospitality services like hotel and transportation and food provision in the sector. The plan is to have 40% of this 15 to 20 billion spent in the country. And this will be an increase from the 28% that was spent during exploration when 4.8 billion was spent. Your Excellency, in addition to this contract award and the goods and service production that services that are being given, land acquisition is a very important thing. And the Tilenga, Kingfisher, and East African crude oil pipeline are affecting about 10,000 people. These 10,000 people have been identified. About 80% of them have been now fully compensated, and the others have been moved. The activities that affect these project-affected people are the ones that have a major contribution to the parish development model. These people are in the 4 districts where oil is going to be produced, that is Nwoya, Bulisa, Hoima, and Chikube, and in the other 8 districts which are along the pipeline corridor. The oil companies have put in place projects to help these people, and so far these thousands of people have actually been trained in agricultural systems and projects. I had them listed on my PowerPoint, but I don't have time to present that. But these people and the capacity that they have been given are a very good target for the parish development model, especially since they are distributed in these 12 districts. Given the little time I have, I can only say that the oil and gas sector is continuing to grow exponentially. It has provided tremendous opportunities for Ugandans during this period, and it's important to remember that the biggest opportunities are in the next 6 months when the investment in infrastructure development is being done up to 2026. After 2026, the investment will go down to less than $1 billion because we shall be in operation and maintenance for the remaining part of the period. These opportunities present very significant opportunity for the parish development model in these 12 districts. I thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, you've been able to hear from the entrepreneurs. I have just one ask. Your Excellency, you have 360 days in a year. And I wanted to ask you, out of your 360 days, why don't you allocate 4 days, 4 full days, 1 day per region to interact with entrepreneurs? They are here, coming from very far, and I can tell you each one of them wanted to say something. And we are saying, if each a full day, don't give us minutes, give us a full day. When we go to a region, northern region, we invite the actual entrepreneurs. They ask you, they tell you, you give a lot of time to politics. also give time to business people. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the reason we brought the Mukunja is because they are feared. Me, as the Sekadei, I couldn't manage that section because I'm also managed by a CEO. I will now invite the PSST, Ramadan Gobi, to recap and then respond, and then I will invite the person that will invite you.
Your Excellency, the President, the Honorable Ministers, all of the various CEOs, both government and the private sector, but especially the private sector. Your Excellency, you created this forum to interact with the chief executives of our private sector. And we have held 2 retreats. So far, this is the 3rd one. And in those 2 retreats that we had, we want to give accountability on what we've discussed and worked on the side of government. I have a full report here, Your Excellency, which we shall publish. I will ask Irene to ensure that in the next publication it is fully included to give full accountability. Last night, Your Excellency, we held a caucus with the CEOs that managed to be around, and they raised a number of issues as feedback to what we've been doing, but also what they are facing in their day-to-day business. We responded to the operational issues and also promised to continue to provide answers to the various issues that they raised, and they continue to raise. We are having an open door policy to private sector in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and all its agencies. I therefore will not go back to the operational ones. I promised that when you come today, I will bring to your attention the strategic issues that require your attention so that you can give us more guidance. Your Excellency, the 3 key issues I could pick out, number 1 was the issue of the industrial policy versus trade policy, as we are promoting import substitution. A number of CEOs, particularly those who are working in the heavy industry, like iron and steel sector, who want to integrate backwards, those who are in manufacturing, who are using our locally sourced inputs like industrial sugar and so on, have been raising a number of contradictory issues in a way that we are more using trade policy, increasing the tariff to protect those who are producing domestically. But that as we do this, the losers are coming out to be perhaps more than the winners in some of them. And they were therefore saying that why don't we use more industrial policy? Because we are locking out some of them when they are still small. I said this, I will bring it to your attention, and we have more study and a discussion so that we can understand fully how best to promote our import substitution without hurting so many others. Your Excellency, we shall write a paper on this so that you can guide us more. The second issue was on the capital, the issue of capital. Your Excellency, you have been a champion of increasing access and also reducing the cost of capital through UDB. There are some operational challenges within the provision of this capital. However, the most strategic one was on the two issues. Number one, the interest rate paid, the 12%. In finance, we've been engaging the board and discussing on whether we could reduce this to 10% and how we could look at the drivers, because this is money, Your Excellency, that you ask us to provide in the budget, and you have committed, already directed us to prioritize the capitalization of UDB, and I informed them, and we are going to do exactly that. But now the interest they pay, plus also the turnaround time, in terms of the number of days it takes to process this capital advancement to them. But this is an operational issue which we are working on. For the record, Your Excellency, so far we have capitalized the UDB at a tune of 1.14 trillion shillings. That is 1,140 billion shillings. And we are prioritizing it going forward to capitalize it big time. But also, how does this debt side work with the equity side of UDC, so that we can have both of them supporting your effort, Your Excellency, of getting the private sector cheaper capital. So UDC also, we shall need to capitalize it, and you already, Your Excellency, passed a paper at Cabinet to increase its capital share base to 4 trillion from the 500. The third issue they raised, Your Excellency, and requires your attention is the issue of corruption in procurement in government, where a number of our CEOs were saying that these contracts are awarded in restaurants to certain people who give bribes. And I informed them that as government we are responding by, number one, digitizing or automating the procurement system, the procurement process. We have started the e-government procurement, where 36 now already ministries, departments and agencies have already been enrolled, and by 2025 we want the entire government to procure online. Your Excellency, this will increase transparency and also give us the audit trail to be able to really follow up these people who are using our public resources to do corruption. Because the procurement online, as I always say, function is like a WhatsApp group. Your Excellency, you don't use these things of WhatsApp, but the members know when we are in a WhatsApp group, if one person is typing, all of the members of the group get to know that Ramadan is typing. When you delete, there will remain there a trail that you've deleted. So somebody will ask, who has deleted? Why are you deleting? So we would want the procurement system in Uganda, Your Excellency, to work in such a transparent manner, like a WhatsApp group. We are beginning, but we shall get there. But Your Excellency, in this area of corruption in procurement, there is a tragedy of middlemen who have raised the cost of projects. Those who are not adding value, but they are adding cost as they pursue these contracts. It is something which I thought should come to your attention, and we find a lasting solution. The other issues, Your Excellency, you had already guided the issue of commercial farmers, financing them, even Cabinet on Monday took that decision. Your Excellency, we are going to work on that. The other operational issues on tax, Your Excellency, there are a number of issues they raised, but they were operational. For example, the unwelcome audits which have been carried out or being carried out by URA, stretching back for 10 years for some of these companies. They are saying, why are you checking me that long when you have been declaring me compliant? And it is affecting my business because you come up with a number of claims. So we brought it to the attention of the URA, and also we had already at Finance been looking into it. And John and I will make sure that, Your Excellency, these ones, we address them. They don't require a lot of your time. So, Your Excellency, we've resolved most of those operational issues which were brought to our attention in the first retreat in Chankwanzi, and also we are in the process of addressing the strategic issues you guided us on export guarantee facility, on getting the insurance for the exporters to DR market and other markets in the region, and also on the issues concerning private equity. We are in the advanced stages of finalizing that, and it will be part of the budget for 23-24. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, I saw you and got very excited. And in the excitement, I forgot that Mr. Emmanuel Katongole was supposed to speak. I am apologizing that I didn't allow him to speak, but not apologizing for being excited, because it was a good reason to be excited. Right now, the chair will speak.
This is yet another day the Lord has brought, and we shall always be grateful to the Lord. We shall also forever be grateful to you, Your Excellency, because within a period of 1 year since you launched the Presidential CEO Forum, you have met us 4 times. And in a period where we've got COVID-19, we've got Ebola, but 4 times, and we have discussed issues, and these issues have been put to your attention, and most of them have been addressed to the advantage of the economy of our country. Thank you. Your Excellency, with us, 4 ministers, 3 ministers, Minister Francis Mwevesa, Minister Monica Msenero, and Minister David Bahati, together with the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, have given us all the support, all the time that we've got to them, and we want to thank them. Your Excellency, I have my colleagues that I work with. Our chair, Babla Murana, is out of the country, and I'm standing in for her. But if I could request all board members to please rise. Your Excellency, there was a proposal that these board members are remunerated and given an allowance from the office of the President. We collectively said no. This will be our contribution, free of charge, as the little that we can give to our country. Your Excellency the President, here are a number of CEOs of various enterprises in this country. These men and women attend these retreats at their own cost and that shows a commitment that they have to our country. Your Excellency, I believe that you've met virtually each one of us, except one person who has just joined the CEO Forum, and this is your daughter, the CEO of MTN. Please come and wave to His Excellency the President. Sylvia Mlinge is from Kenya. She just joined as Chief Executive of MTN, and speaking to her, she has a number of value adds. Sylvia, you are welcome to the forum. Your Excellency, in the last 1 year, we've had a number of achievements. The issue of coffee. We did write a paper that was in support of your position and position of cabinet. And thank you, Your Excellency, that you're taking this issue, and that we request you, Your Excellency, that the identified investor, Madame Pineti, works with the UDC together with the selected private sector investors so that we form a joint venture to process our coffee, but the private sector will remain very committed and very supportive of your idea of processing coffee. Your Excellency, we continue to engage stakeholders. The board, together with management of the Presidential CEO Forum, has been moving across the country, meeting key farmers, key investors, and encouraging them to be part of a growing economy. And this is the economy that you have created, Your Excellency. For this very retreat, other than two gentlemen, the Honorable Minister Mwebesa and Mr. Nicholas Biengoma, the rest of us are your creation. The businesses that we do started because of your effort. The businesses that we do are here because of the peace that you gave to us and you gave to the nation. We can only say thank you. We can only say thank you, and we can only be there and promise to be there. Wherever you want us to go, we shall go with you. Your Excellency, on new markets, we had various resolutions, and PSST is mentioned them. We're really so happy that these resolutions have been addressed, and those that need your input, we have no doubt, Your Excellency, that you redirect that they work. Your Excellency, we're also proud to say that we met the Secretary General of the African Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Area, Honorable Wemikele Meni, in October 2020. We're in the process of signing a memorandum of understanding. We believe that we should take leadership in taking Ugandan products across Africa. On the area of promoting private equity, Your Excellency, we are very grateful to you that you committed to remove taxes on either private equity and private venture funds upon exiting their investments in Uganda. We have given proposals to the Ministry of Finance, and Dr. Rama has been such a very good help to us, and we have no doubt that probably during the next budget, these measures will be announced, and we shall have another way of financing our investments. Your Excellency, as I conclude, This very retreat concentrated on two areas. One is immobility. And the CEO of Kiramoto has ably demonstrated to you why we need immobility. The other issue, Your Excellency, that we concentrated on is how we can interface and support the parish development model. Your Excellency, the private sector wants to be part of this. We want this model to succeed. We've followed what we've put in place, and we want to participate in every aspect of it, either as off-takers, as manufacturers of products, as exporters of products, and those of us who cannot participate in that way, at least participate in making the quality of life of the intended beneficiaries great. Your Excellency, the other day, we were with the Indian Association and they talked about peace, profit, and progress. Yes, we're here and we can stand because of peace, because of what you have been able to do. Let all possible means be identified, and we shall do whatever it takes to make this model work for the people of Uganda. There are new ideas as we move forward, Your Excellency. Dr. Birungi of UDC is talking about a commodities exchange. Yes, we have seen it work in Ethiopia. If it was not for their senseless war, probably Ethiopian farmers would be far because of a commodities exchange. Let's engage UDC to see how we can put in place a commodities exchange so that the products that will be produced within the parish development model meet a fair pricing mechanism and meet value for money. We're also talking about harnessing technology. We love what Dr. Musenero has done with that satellite. We think that remote sensing and using artificial intelligence should be tools that we can adapt to forecast for farmers, to work out input-output matrices, and be able to make production of value to these farmers. Your Excellency, again, thank you so very much. We put you in the hands of our Lord, our Creator, to continue guarding you and protecting you, to continue protecting our country. Thank you for God and my country.
There are people who speak and you can tell that they could have been clergy if it hadn't been other things. Your Excellency, the staff of Chobe are also here and they are big fans of yours. We also thank Crown Beverages who have given us drinks, and the Uganda Coffee Development Authority that continues to stimulate us. I'll take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to invite the Honorable Mwebesa to use this opportunity to invite you.
Your Excellency, President Yoweri Museveni, the ministers present here, members of Parliament, members of the business community, especially the members of the CEOs Forum who have invited this on this particular day. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you and appreciate your president, your resilient stewardship of the NRM government that is inclusive, ensure economic development that has positively contributed towards achieving the country's development plans and under the NRM manifesto. Your Excellency, I also want to thank you personally for making me the head of policy in your government of industry and trade and cooperatives. I would say I'm now seated with my brothers, and all their problems that they have been the problems that I've been going through. And I think you did a good thing. I should be able, because they are talking to part of their man of their own. The ministry's strategic interventions are detailed. My ministry's strategic interventions are detailed in 4 categories. That is industrialization for value addition, import substitution, export promotion, export development and promotion, support of SMEs and private sector development, and strengthening of cooperatives and consolidation of the Parish development model. As I said, those 5 areas are the things which we found important at this particular moment as we are going on with the background of the movement's manifesto and government. Industrialization 1, industrialization for value addition, import substitution and export. Your Excellency, despite the pandemic and other shocks, the industrial sector has remained resilient. Current statistics show that the industrial sector's contribution to GDP stands at about 26.2%, with manufacturing contributing 15.9% of the GDP. As a ministry, we have put in place a policy framework to guide the development of proper regulations of industrial activities, which include the competition bill approved by Cabinet this year, 2022, 2, External Trade Act regulation to restrict export of raw materials required by the local industries, 3, pre-export verification conformity to standards, 4, draft the iron and steel development strategy, cotton and apples development strategy, 5, draft the policy of guidelines for construction management of industrial parks for sustainable industrial development. Cabinet approved the increment of capital requirement for UDC from 5 billion shillings to 5 trillion shillings, which I think was a great thing. It will contribute a lot, and I want to thank you for that, Your Excellency, for our industrialists. The priority industrial value chains for investments are agro-based industries, fruits, coffee, cotton, textiles, apples, tea, cassava, grains, oilseed, sugarcane, bananas, dairy, leather products, poultry, fish, and paper. These are in line with the 14 products identified in the paper on rural versus vulnerable economy by you, Your Excellency, the President. Extractive-based manufacturing industries, iron and steel, oil and gas, LPG, synthetics, plastics and petrochemicals, salt, cement, fertilizers, copper, gold, lithium, solar batteries. Number 3, knowledge-intensive industries, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, electronics, and electrical products assembling storage actions for establishing priority industries. Provision of machinery and equipment to increase value addition on commodity-based enterprise. On this one, Your Excellency, some of these value addition plant machinery, there is capacity in the country. In Yuri, unfortunately, the Professor Kwesiga was being praised here for that. Some of these things we don't need to buy them from outside. They can be made in the current factory that is put there. And we intend, I had the Minister of Innovation and all these things like bolts and nuts, all these things like bases for machinery, all the required equipment is normally manufactured by forging the framework, but then we have got a workshop down in Kampala which can manufacture some of these value addition machinery that we intend to be putting there. And we are taking it as a basis of industrialization for this country. Our strategy is to move from the market access to market entry in the region, East African Community, COMESA, African Free Trade Area, and beyond. Currently, looking at how things look like, UAE, United Arab Republic, is a good market. UK is a good market. European Union is a good market. China is more of a good market. We recently had them giving us to enter goods in China at 95% free of. I don't want to say that they are not very strict, but they don't have these restrictive conditions of quality I had here previously about the processing of maize. Becomes better if you process it here and you sell kawunga outside than people telling you that the kawunga you have has got these chemicals and so on. China is another good market. USA is another very good market. It's large and it can take most of Uganda goods that they can make. This comes up to AGOA. To achieve the above strategy, bring the entire private sector on board, the ministry, my ministry, is processing of tabling a cabinet paper on the creation of the Confederation of the Private Sector Association, an apex body for private sector, real private sector players, as you have heard all these gentlemen, responsible for development and promotion and management of the private sector association in Uganda. Your Excellency, please support us to revive the additional Chamber of Commerce, which is dead, but now it is coming up as a confederation of the private sector association. Your Excellency, please support us to revive this additional Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to steer the sector to achieve your vision. I want to thank you, Your Excellency, with my colleagues who are here. You have been our Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You have signed so many protocols. You have done everything. But we, the people who are working in the government, are not the real private sector. We want the people who are here to go and sign deals, not protocols, not anything, but business deals. And this can only be done by the business community, not by any other, like Mwebesa, the government servant. But as I said, you have done very, very well, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the number of cooperative societies has, another point is strengthening of cooperative and consolidation of the parish development model. Your Excellency, the number of cooperative societies in Uganda has grown over years, 37,621 by June 2022. These include 6,624 Emyoga circles and 7,019 PDM, Parish Development Circles, with a population to a tune of 14.3 million people. Government has disbursed over 126 billion as compensation to 25 cooperatives over the past 7 years. The ministry, therefore, is strategically intervening to ensure revival of the cooperative bank, which should be the government's legal and institutional support for establishment of an agricultural rural focused development bank, which will help to capitalize cooperative unions. All the circles include PDM circles, strengthen the commercial offices and district community development offices at the local level to ensure effective supervision and oversight of circles. Self-help groups, village saving loan and associations, and other community microfinance institutions increase funding to Uganda Warehouse Receipt Authority and Rural Industrial Development Policy. To improve storage and post-harvest handling services and extend 30% income tax holiday for circles to all cooperative unions. As I conclude, allow me to thank you all and more, Your Excellency, for this good meeting. For God and my country, Francis Melissa, the Minister of Industry. Your Excellency, may I take this opportunity given to me to invite you and address your people.
The honorable ministers, the forum leaders, and the members of the CEO forum. The atmosphere of business in Uganda is influenced by a spectrum of strategic stimuli. There are certain stimuli that are crucial for the business to succeed. You the camera people, I think you are obstructing people. Go on the side a bit. Now, these stimuli are many. But I think the NRM is getting them right. They include, first of all, peace. This is what Mr. Katongere was talking about. Peace is a very important stimulus. That's what also General Tema was talking about. Like this area was a war zone, but now you see what is happening here. What was a war zone, now you see those hotel workers with shining white garments instead of guns. So that stimulus is crucial and it is continuing. Then you have education, because all these industries need an educated workforce. Educated, but I think what Msaz was saying,
in addition to education, they also need skills of particular types. But with education, skills are easier to impart. So that one is moving well, because if you see the school population is big now. It's 15 million children are in the schools. Then you have health. Health is also crucial for the workforce. Then you have research. Because when you talk of PDM, you are talking of essentially agriculture and crops and animals and fish and so on. So you need research for seeds, for all that. That one is moving well. If you go to Kawanda, you'll find all those seeds of all this type. You go to Chituza, you go to Karengere for the Irish potatoes and so on. There are a number of other strategic stimuli. But in order to assist business, you need to also narrow the focus on a number of crucial stimuli in addition to these general ones. Because you can have countries with well-educated people, but the business doesn't grow for some reasons, because you need to focus on some of the strategic stimuli. And for the NRM, in addition to these general ones, we identified roads. We said roads are very crucial. And I think when you came here from Kampala, you must have seen this road from Kampala all the way to the border with Sudan, on Nimre side, all the way to the Sudan side, on the Kitgum side, and all the way to the Sudan side, on the Arua side. So these tarmac roads, we are continuing to struggle with them to make sure that the whole country is linked by good tarmac roads. Now, what Adied was saying, that's another subunit of the roads, the Maram roads. And we were talking about it just yesterday, the other day. We are going to, because now all the districts have road equipment, but they don't have enough money for fuel and all that, and we are going to address that. So that while Adieri has got a good tarmac road from Kampala all the way to Arua, and another one from Oluyo to Anaka, to Kochigoma, to Gulu. So she's suffering from being in an island of roadlessness. That's why she was crying. So we are going to ensure that the districts get enough money automatically without changing each year, because we know roughly these roads, and we want these Maram roads to have the grading, the drainage, the tarmacking, the maraming, and the compacting, so that they are reliable. Adieri, enguto yao ne rugankaha, ngambero mzindaro hano, enguto yao. Neruga Anaka, Neruga Nkaha.
Kudo to Kuruetaga Kurugarua Road to the farm, there is a bridge we need.
Eringa?
Kuruga Uyanaka to the farm, then to the Security Road going to Ajumani.
Ni kilometers inga?
It is 30 kilometers, but the bridge is the hip cap.
Okay. So therefore, there is the Minister of Industry of Mzee Mwebesa. There are people called commissioners there. I don't know whether you have heard of them. You hear there is commission of marketing. Is he there, the one of industry? Who is here now? Oh, Mzee Mwewesi is the one who is here. But he's going to tell his people that these commissioners of marketing, they should be having a clear idea of the country, and they know where clusters of production are. Like if Adiel has got these commercial farmers who have come to Nuoya after the war, then he can approach the Ministry of Works and the districts, assist them to make these Maram roads there. That should be the work of the Commissioner of Marketing, because he should know there is production, how should the marketing be? This one I can guarantee you, I'm going to work with the Minister of Industry, because through the strategic investment, we are solving the big problem of the tarmac roads. But from the tarmac roads, we should have Maram roads to these clusters of production. So that's one area, roads. But roads are really not the best for transport of cargo. What would even be better for the transport of cargo is the railway. And I want to inform you that we are repairing the old railway, the meter gauge, all the way from Kampala to Maraba, from Maraba to Soroti, to Mbare, to Lira, all the way to Pakwach here. It's going to be tarmac. I don't know whether Ramadan gave you the facts on that. He should tell you, if you are still here, he should tell you what's happening on that one. Now, so that for some of the cargo which is not fast moving, you should move the railway. Use the railway because it is cheaper. And also we are looking at the water transport, because God favored us. Not far from here, no, this is a bit far, but Pakwach is a bit far from here, but you have free highway of water all the way from Nimure up to near Fort Potro. You go through the Nile, through Lake Arbat, up to Ntoroko. Ntoroko is only 30 miles from Fort Potro. So somebody can move cargo without going through all this, all the way up to near Fort Potro by water. And when you are coming from the ocean, from Mombasa, from Dar es Salaam, I want to advise you to look at the water transport in addition to the railway. From Kisumu, you can go by water across Lake Victoria up to a place called Nshungezi, which is about 36 miles from Barara on the Kagera River towards Rwanda. So for cargo, going to Rwanda, to Congo, to Western Uganda, you don't have to use even the rail, to use the rail and the road all through Kampala. No, you can just use the Lake Victoria. So I would like you, the business, first of all, our ministries, that Ministry of Trade, to look at these and really advise our people. Because for me, I know the country because I have been operating in it for a long time. I can be a free business consultant for no pay. So, as a strategy, in order to lower the cost, because you remember, the struggle of business is to lower the cost of production. This is the struggle. In order to lower the cost of production, to become competitive, apart from the tarmac roads and the Maram roads, which solve the problem of connectivity. But in terms of lowering costs, I want us to emphasize the railway and the water transport, all the way from the ocean. Because I'm telling you, you can avoid road transport from Mombasa to Kisumu, from Kisumu to Jinja, from Kisumu to Port Bell, from Kisumu to Bukakata on the Masaka side, and from Kisumu all the way to what I have told you, Nshunjezi, which is far beyond Mbarara. So in terms of strategy, let the ministry really study this together with transport and we develop it so that we develop a low-cost transport strategy for cargo. The vehicles, for human beings, for light cargo, you can use the roads. And this shifting of cargo from roads to the water and the rail will save the roads also. The roads will last longer. Now, those people in Western Uganda, they have got some thieves along them. Abantu abo b'Obugwanjuba wali ababbi. They stole the railway. The ones which was going to. So I'm wondering whether we should have Ababi or Babakunja, Anya Singa. So there was a railway line from Kampala to Kasese. These fellows stole the rails. So recently when I took people there to repair it, there was nothing to repair. What therefore we are doing there, we are going to build a brand new standard gauge railway from Kampala to Kasese. And then later on, we shall upscale the same standard gauge railway from Kampala to the border of Kenya and then to South Sudan. So that is the second element of emphasis, of focus in terms of identify stimuli, strategic stimuli that can improve our competitiveness. We want low cost of transport for our cargo so that we can become more competitive. Then there is electricity. That one we are struggling with. We should actually have achieved it, but because of the mistakes by some of our people in the Ministry of Energy in the past, they agreed to very expensive money for Jagari. That's where they ended up having a high, what you call tariff price, which was initially 13 cents per unit. Then I think now we have brought it down to, it's coming down, the Bujagari one. Otherwise, the power of Narubare, the old dam, the old power station in Injeru, and Chira, the one on the eastern side, is 1.2 cents per unit. 1.2 cents. Bujagari was 13 cents. Can you imagine? Now, the new power stations we are building with the Chinese, Karuma here, is 4.8 cents. The other one is Simba, is 4.8 cents. So, the pollutant, the pollution, is Bujagari. But we are bringing down the cost. Then we are dealing with other problems in electricity, the wires, the what, the other issues. But the target is to have cheap electricity. And we shall achieve it. Then, the cost of money. This is the UDB, what you are talking about. You are saying bring it from 12% to 10%, but also have longer time to pay back. I totally agree, because we are here for manufacturing. We are not here for trading, and things don't get concluded so quickly when it comes to serious production efforts. So this is the narrow focus. Apart from the general efforts, we are focusing on these areas to enable you to produce cheaply. Now, the focus of this retreat was well directed. E-mobility, as Musa told you, we are totally behind this. And that's why the other time, when the price of fuel was up, because of the war in Ukraine, you remember there was pressure that we should subsidize. You people, you don't know Banyankore. Banyankore, they are Mukonogamu. You cannot have a Minyankore if he takes a cow to the market, a female cow, and sells it. He must come back with a Kasumoro bull to go in the place of the cow he has sold. If you see Minyankore selling and just pocketing money, then you know that's not a proper Minyankore. So, I could not agree to the idea of subsidizing fuel for driving to nightclubs. Can you imagine? Mbumba kwatileko ku petroli eyokugenda omubinyumo. Nimbagamba nti nze wakiri nzira yewange lwakitwala nembaleka wano. I cannot do that. You remember there was a lot of pressure. They are doing it in Kenya. If they are doing it, I wish them good luck. But me, what else did they want us to subsidize? There was fuel. Emere. They wanted us to subsidize the number. I said, no way. Possibly the only thing that one would think of subsidizing, if it became necessary, would be something like fertilizer. That one there, if I was pressed, I could think about. Because that one is subsidizing Ensigo, Ezenazara, a product, an input that will produce a product. That one could make some sense, but not subsidizing consumption. Therefore, when it comes to the cost of money, I totally see the point and agree that it should be, if possible, lower than 12%. Unfortunately, now the inflation had gone up, but it will come down because it is normally 5%, so that there is a difference between the interest rate and the inflation rate. Now, on the e-mobility, which was the core of your discussion here, I'm fully behind this. And when they were putting pressure on the issue of fuel, you remember I gave a speech. I said, but this fuel, we should migrate from the diesel cars and petroleum cars to electric vehicles and electric pikipikis. And as you heard, Musas is telling you that the electric pikipikis would be, let me see, 50%, I think he said 50% cheaper. Yes, they will be 50% cheaper for the operators. So that's why we are moving. Now, regarding all these issues you're asking for, Mr. Musasizi, I support all of them. Zero rate for VAT. Off-take agreements. We can guarantee that the government departments will buy the electric buses. And that support you, encourage UDB okuwala sente abanagula pikipiki ez'amasanyalazi, instead of having these ones with omuka. Then setting aside a technical school to train people. I totally agree. We are going to work on this. Ministerial should work on that, to have some centers dedicated to training these drivers, training the technical people to maintain these electric buses. We are going to work on it. Now, on the issue of the parish development model, which is again the focus of your retreat here, the 7 activities there are mainly for the families who have fragmented the land for the 4 acres model. The 7 activities: coffee, fruits, dairy, the 8 cows in the shed, dairy cattle, food, 4th acre, a manju, poultry for eggs, a manju, pigs for those who are not Muslims, and fish farming. So I totally agree that the government should really plan for all these, the linkages. The linkages with, for instance, the one who spoke where he said, for coffee, that one is well established. There's already some system going on there. But we shall work on it too, and I'm happy with the Katongore saying that they want to work with my Italian friend Pinetti to add value to the coffee, which would bring your country $4 billion instead of the present 800 million we are getting from bean coffee we are selling. But I totally agree that we support the new pioneers, abatembuzi, in the other, in the fruits, like for instance, adieri. Support the seeds, support the chemicals needed to protect the crops, but also the processing. This processing is easy. I've just built for you a tannery in Kaumu. These government people gave me some money. It's called Innovation Fund in the State House of 120 something billion. And I used 12 billion okubatasa okusaka leather from China, from Kenya. Leather I'm producing it for you. Using 12 billion, just 12 billion. So, I think with these funds and UDC, we should see how we could, for instance, link up with the dairy and deal with the issue of fruits processing, share costs and joint venture, then link up with Otema about cassava. All those little things can be done. But the Commission of Planning in the Ministry of Mzee Mwewesa should be active and recommend and identify. And you people, the private sector also, should identify for us that here we can do with partnering. For the dairy sector, there's already a good system, especially in Western Uganda. It's well developed. But even these areas of Masindi, the milk coolers, they are already there. So if some of the other areas can join, they will find a system which is already operating for the dairy. Now for the poultry, the challenge for you people is producing animal feeds. Invest in making animal feeds here using Mr. Kejuka's grain to make animal feeds instead of importing animal feeds from Kenya. Animal feeds for poultry, for piggery, for fishery, they all need those animal feeds. Now regarding the risks, on the production side, you talked about some risks of this one, that, but I think for me the biggest risk for agriculture has been the weather. And the answer for that is irrigation. And we are doing two efforts. Effort number one is the Ministry of Agriculture to use the gift God gave us, because God gave us a very good arrangement. You have high mountains like the Rwenzori with rivers, so many rivers from Mount Rwenzori, Ruimi, Mobuku, Nyamugasani, there are so many of them. We are now just using only one, Mobuku, for irrigation. And there's no pumping here. The water is coming from up, you just direct it. So we are going to use more of those rivers around the Rwenzori for gravity irrigation. On the side of the Elgon, we have a small project at Doho rice scheme. But those rivers are also there. Manafa, Malaba, Greek River, all those rivers are there. So we are going to do more of those gravity irrigation. But to cover the whole country, we have attracted a manufacturer who will manufacture solar-powered water pumps, where you can have your solar-powered water pump, which pumps for you water to a high ground, and you irrigate your farm locally, even if you are not part of the other gravity flow scheme. In Karamoja, we are going to, there is that river, there is a river there, I've forgotten the name, which we are going to dam, and it will also be used for irrigation. So this is the biggest, because the other ones, you are talking of insurance. Insurance from what? From mainly drought. Okay, there are some other problems like pests and so on, which are easy to deal with. But the biggest one is, so we are going to shift from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation agriculture. Rain-fed plus irrigation as a standby. But the planners, Ramadan should look at the other instruments, insurance, all those other little things. But for me, I think the biggest risk is this one of water. This is the biggest risk. Now on the marketing side, we have already talked about the road network, which we have talked about, because Adier was talking about that her farm is not accessible, so she can't market. But with the roads, that one will be solved. Then the other one is the cross-border trade. I think that one is improving, because I can see, like with the new government of Kenya, they seem to be very, very, very open. They seem to be more supportive of regional trade. And with the Congo, we don't seem to have any problem. With the South Sudan, no problem. With Tanzania, we still have some issues, but I will discuss with Her Excellency. With Rwanda, I think the border was opened again. Burundi, no problem. So I'm glad that now there is a huge market of milk in Algeria. Huge. So our minister went there, John Mulimba, and met the president. The president was very, very, very ready. But on our side here, we need to solve the problem of Karusu, foot and mouth, Erjoa, because that's what would block us from. We need to have a record, which means the Minister of Agriculture must guide us on what to do with these seasonal outbreaks of Karusu. So finally, I have listened to the order of my daughter from Bukunja, who said, "You man, do you know how to count?" I said, "Yes, I know, madam." Said there are 365 days in a year. Osoborotya okulema enaku nyazoka umwaka nosinga n'abantu b'omugaso nga bano nenenyeza And I direct my office, because me, I am a puppet. They just tell me what to do. So, office of State House, you are directed by the order of my daughter from Bukunja that 4 days in a year, out of 365 days, 1 day in the east, another day in Gulu or somewhere, another day, those people in the west, and then Kampala. So really, I have no, I will not pay you for the consultancy. I just thank you, Katonda Kuberi. So I thank you so much, but we have worked well because Ramadan has been here with you. He has seen all the details. The other one of taxing, exiting capital. At Chankwanzi, I saw the sense. It is bad planning. We should remove that tax. If these people come and bring their capital here, they build business, they create capacity, they pay taxes when they are here. When the time for them to get out comes, then you say, ngenda kubate mako. It's not good. It's not good strategy, because people will fear to come, and yet they could. It is like a revolving capital, revolving fund. Aleta sente nazikozesa nezara sente nda yena agenda ofirwa ki muleka agende. You remain with what he has already built here. So I thank you, Katonda Wabere.
Your Excellency, thank you very much, and in your presence would like to recognize the following organizations who have been in the business of responding timely to issues that have been raised, and they include the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, the Capital Markets Authority, Uganda Revenue Authority, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Uganda Export Promotional Board, and the National Planning Authority, and as well through these. So what we are going to, Your Excellency, is the launch of the Presidential CEO Forum Annual Reports Corporate Ugandan Statistical Yearbook, and after that will be the group photograph. And in that launch, Your Excellency, you will be joined by the Honorable Minister Mwebesa, as well as Mr. Katongole and Mr. Enyimu.